He was last seen wandering away from his campground in an unknown direction approximately 4:30 that morning, leaving his friends and the party behind. He left behind his camping gear, his cell phone was turned off shortly after, and his bank account had no activity afterwards. So, what happened to Michael Bryson, and where could he be? Today, I'm covering the case of Michael Bryson, who went missing out of the Hobo Campground in Umpqua National Forest on August 5th, 2020. So, let's get into it. A few days before he left for his week-long camping trip with his friends, Michael had stopped by for breakfast in the morning with his parents, and they had a wonderful morning, and Michael told them that he was going to be leaving on a week-long trip in an area without cell phone service, but he would be returning shortly on a date. Now, afterwards, they walked him out to the car, and that was the last time they saw him. After that, Michael and his friends gathered their camping supplies and left to go for their trip to the Hobo Campground. Now, one thing to note about this camp experience for Michael and his friends was it was going to be more than just camping. In fact, they were going up to a rave up in the Hobo Campground. Now, the area is known for parties and all that kind of sort of thing, so it wasn't unusual for them to have that spot. So they made their way up there, along with a lot of other people, because again, you can't really have a rave with just a handful of people. You got to have more. So a few days after they had made their way to the camp spot and started their camping was when Michael had wandered off and disappeared, never to be seen again. Now, he had wandered off approximately about 4:30 that morning, and it took the group or anyone to inform Michael's family that he had been missing. So he went missing at 4:30, and around approximately 5 p.m. that same day is when his parents were made aware of his disappearance. They did contact the Lane County Sheriff's Office right away, who promptly started a search. They did air, drone, and water searches, and they also pulled together a bunch of volunteers. Now, again, I understand why it took a while for them to contact his family from 4:30 in the morning to 5. They might not have realized that Michael had been missing, and again, they were in an area without cell phone service, so it's not like they could pick up the cell phone and call them right off the bat saying, hey, Michael's missing. They would have to find a way to get that information to them. So that's just something that has been floating around in my head, and I do know that there's going to be others that kind of think that same way. Who knows? But that's my own theory. But after weeks of searching, nothing came up. No leads, no information, nothing at all. So after about 6 weeks of just frustrating, nothing being done, or no new leads happening, the family offered a $10,000 reward concerning the information and finding Michael and what happened to him. Nothing happened anymore, so they continued to wait and wait and wait until a few months later, in December 2020, there was a few articles of Michael's clothing found over by a swimming hole. The thing about those clothes and that area was that it had been searched plenty of times beforehand and nothing had been found. So the family and others do believe that these clothes had been placed there after the fact, planted there, because it was highly unlikely that after all that searches that his clothes were found right there in a very obvious spot. So he disappeared in August, and his clothes were found after multiple searches in that same spot months later, which was very concerning to the friends and family. More time went by. No answers, no information, and the families are getting frustrated and sad. And so they've created a Facebook page trying to find Michael, get any information. More time goes by. Then November 2024 arrives, and they find spray painted on the outside of the Lane County Sheriff's Office graffiti stating that Blaze Powers knows what happened to Michael Bryson, Kessa, and Kalia. Now, investigators looked into it, but they couldn't find a suspect for that. The thing is, it's the county jail. You'd think they'd have surveillance cameras out on the, exterior parts of that, but I digress. I'm not the investigator, and I don't have that information at this time, so maybe they did know that, but that was something else in my head as well. So the spray paint happened, and again, no more information, no new leads, no nothing, until late last year, and the beginning of this year, a group called Dylan's Legacy, a nonprofit, got together, organized a large-scale canine search involving volunteers from Utah, Colorado, and Washington to search the area looking for him. Now, it didn't produce any new leads or information or evidence, but it did give the community a renewed sense of hope again. If you've seen some of my past videos, you can see everyone begging me to talk about Michael because it's so important. And so yes, that's the reason why I'm doing these, is because I do feel like these people need to be spoken about so we're not forgetting about them. And so the community in Oregon knows how important it is to find. Another thing to note is that Lane County is actually a known hotspot for missing people. It's kind of concerning with the amount that they have. And same with Washington. We have our hotspots as well on missing people. But it is kind of strange that, again, that area that Michael went missing in is a known hotspot for that type of thing to happen. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Michael Bryson, you can contact the Lane County Sheriff's Office at 541-682-4150. Please, if you have any information, Michael's friends, family, and their entire community are searching for him and they just want answers. Maybe you have the information that can help them.